house always wins. Play long enough, you never change the stakes. The house takes you. Unless, when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big, and then you take the house. Been practicing this good. A little bit. Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed.
That was good. I liked it.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Big Easy Bets podcast. I'm your host, Logan, and with me in the studio, Nick Von Brick.
What's up?
This is episode 228. This is our NFC conference breakdown. Last week, we dove into the AFC. We gave you our best bets in terms of future bets for the season. At the end of that episode, we're going to do the same thing today. We're going to start top to bottom from the best to the worst, go team by team. Again, just to reiterate, for if this is your first time tuning in, we've already done college, the power conference, and then we've done the AFC. The purpose of this is to just brush up on off-season moves, coaching changes, draft picks, etc. Everything you need to know, at least at surface level going into 2025, and then we will give you our best bet for the conference. So hit the like and subscribe button if you don't mind. A couple things to dive into before we get to that. Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan died in the same week.
Yes.
Kind of crazy.
What killed Ozzy?
He had Parkinson's.
Okay.
Yeah, he had Parkinson's. And then, with Hulk Hogan, I think it was cardiac arrest. But it's a lot of people are going to a lot of people have an opinion on mainly Hulk Hogan, not so much Ozzy Osbourne, due to politics and all of that. And I'm not going to get into all of that. I think if your opinion of somebody's based off of who their political affiliation is, and that discredits what they've done, I think you're a fool. But that's just me. It's I don't think that Robert De Niro's movies are trash because he is a liberal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Godfather's still one of the best movies of all time. And I guess that's Pacino, but De Niro is in it in the flashbacks and all of that. But whatever, you can go down the list with all the Robert De Niro movies. The point being is that it doesn't discredit. So a lot of people are like, oh, Hulk Hogan, who cares? Who gives a shit? It's yeah, he was at Trump's inauguration. He also lifted fucking Andre the Giant over his head at WrestleMania. So it's the guy was wrestling and made it what it was. Without him, it wouldn't be where it is today. So, and then Ozzy Osbourne is one of those people that it's cool. They're like legends in the truest sense of the form, where or the phrase where everyone knows who Ozzy Osbourne is, whether you listen to Black Sabbath or listen to him when he went on his solo tours and all of that. Everyone knows Ozzy Osbourne. Same thing with Hulk Hogan. And it's kind of interesting that in the same week they both die, and they're, I would say, on the same tier of, I guess, legend, if you want to use that term, and they're doing completely different things, where there's certain people who, Snoop Dogg's kind of one. I guess everybody knows who Snoop Dogg is. There's people that every single person knows, whether you know them for music or the Osbournes or just whatever, because he became huge on TV for a little while too there. That was back, I want to say that was before the Kardashians and all of that. So a lot of people forget they had their reality show. But you got to kind of tip your cap whenever, Ozzy Osbourne is in the truest sense of the form, a legend in terms of, like I said, everyone knew who Ozzy Osbourne was. And if you didn't know Ozzy Osbourne, then you heard Iron Man, you heard songs from Black Sabbath and all of that. So, but yeah, and then what's his name from the Cosby Show? Theo died. They say it comes in threes. They do. He died. That shit's crazy. He was only in his 50s, but he drowned. So it's been a weird week. So I don't know. We'll see. We got to get back to football. That's what it boils down to, because shit in the summer when there's nothing going on, people die. I don't know why, because they're not at home watching football, I guess, where it's safe. So, but we're close. I want to say this is the last Thursday without football until next year. I think the Hall of Fame game's next Thursday, right?
Yeah, we're getting close.
I think it is. See,
it always seems like it starts earlier and earlier.
Yeah. Well, they do. I think they do that. Then they have a break in between. Like they have a week in between, and then preseason starts. I could be wrong on that, but I want to say that next Thursday.
August 1st.
Yeah. So this is.
Wait, that was 2024.
Christ. Okay. Well, it's got to be. It's got to be. I don't even know if that's August 1st.
July 31st
is next Thursday. Yeah.
Christ, we're starting football in July now?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, this is the last Thursday without football. It's not necessarily the most meaningful football, but there will be football on your TV screen from starting next Thursday until next year. So, buckle in. We're almost here to the meaningful side of football, but a lot of teams to dive into. Two more things you saw. We talked about it, but Retzlaff to Tulane. Left BYU. Apparently he's not Mormon. I guess he's Jewish.
Wow.
Maybe he's, I don't know. Did you know that Tulane was 40% Jewish?
Nope.
I didn't know that. But I think someone said he's Jewish. Not that matters, but he's not Mormon. How significant do you think that move is? Because I saw a lot of people were like, oh, bet Tulane to make the playoff and do this and that.
I don't know about make the playoff, but it certainly probably makes them one of the better teams in their conference now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I don't think that he was necessarily that good. We talked about it last season where BYU had a lot of fortunate bounces, and you were on the wrong side of it in real time with that kick return, or there was a punt return late in the game. So there were a couple times where personally we were on the wrong side, but just watching from afar as well, that it's like this team is getting all the bounces to go their way. They were not that good. They faded down the stretch. They slaughtered Colorado in the bowl game. But it's not like this guy was going to be in Heisman Trophy contention or anything if he stayed at BYU. They were probably going to be competitive again in a Big 12 conference that anybody can win, which you saw the bottom of the barrel team in the preseason expectations with Arizona State go all the way to college football playoff and nearly knock off Texas. So no one knows who's good in that conference. So, but point being, I don't think that Retzlaff is this he's not like a top 10, top 20 quarterback in the country.
Yeah.
So, but it's somebody that he's got familiarity with who's at Summerall, the head coach. He recruited him when he was at South Alabama. So they know each other, and it seemed like a fit that made sense. And still, I mean, BYU was a good team last year, so for name value and all of that, his name holds more value than his play probably does. But for Tulane losing Mensah to, Duke, it's a good get for sure. If you're Tulane, you certainly can't be disappointed. But I don't know that I would jump to the window to bet them to win the national championship or to make the college football playoff per se. I'm interested. I didn't even look, to be quite honest with you, what the odds did. Like if they had to shorten up a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, they were looking bleak at quarterback before that. So.
Oh yeah. They had what's his name from Ponchatoula, bounced around to 17 different schools.
Yeah, but then he got in some type of trouble.
No, I know they had him, and then he stole a truck or something. So I think he stole a Dodge truck, but then he was trying to say it was like a Facebook scam. All right, last thing, UFC 318. We went to, me and Bam ended up going. Nick wasn't able to go. What was that? Last Saturday. So in between the last time we recorded and now. It's so much better in person. And I'm interested in what other people would think too. But my just overall thoughts is, it's a fucking grind. Like, it was like midway through, I was like yawning. I'm like, because we were there at 5. Really, we were there at 4 when the doors opened. We didn't leave till like 12:30, something like that. We got hooked up with very good seats. We were in a suite. Shout out Michelle. So free food. They don't do free alcohol in any of the suites, which is crazy. Apparently that's like a UFC thing. That's egregious.
Yeah, I remember when we were in there for the Pelicans, Larry was having to buy the alcohol too.
Yeah, but I think that's so. Like Bam is sat. We were in the Hub Club, so it's like an extended suite. It's on the end zone side if you're looking at it like a football field. So it's multiple suites in one, I guess, and there's no partitions or anything, so it's all kind of open. But he sat there for Pelicans games with a friend of his, and he said it's always free alcohol.
Yeah.
And when we got there, he ordered a drink, and she's like, "Is this together or separate?" And me, I could tell the wheels in his head were spinning, where he's like, and he asks, he's like, "Is it not free?" And she's like, "No, it should have said that on your ticket." And he's like, "Isn't it free during the Pelicans games?" And she's like, "Yeah, this isn't a Pelicans game." So that threw us for a loop a little bit, but the food was good. I ate so many churros and beignets, but the card was incredible. Started off top to bottom with knockouts and submissions, and I think the first 6 fights didn't go to decision. The chick from Lafayette that opened the show, the first prelim, I'm blanking on her name, Judice maybe, is a fucking problem. She beat the shit out of that girl. And then, bam, it was so funny. So we talked about it prior, and Bam's number one bet was Jimmy Crute to win. And then he pulled up a couple people talking about it, and they all unanimously across the board basically said, "You're a dumbass if you bet Jimmy Crute, and this guy stinks, and he hasn't won in 5 years." And that was Bam's number one bet, put his reputation behind it. And then you could tell he was like, "Ah, shit." Like, he just guessed. And then everyone's telling him this is dumb. Well, we were laughing about that, but I didn't realize he was like a minus 350 favorite going in. So yeah. I ended up taking Jimmy Crute by submission, and Bam did too. And we really needed that. So it's like 20% full, if that, when Jimmy Crute's fighting. Like, so you can hear everybody yelling. Like, you could hear people were yelling shit from the upper level. Well, Reed, Bam's brother, and his friend who rode with us were on the opposite side up in the nosebleeds. And so we could see each other. He was wearing a yellow shirt and wearing the suite so he could see us. Jimmy Crute gets this guy in an arm bar. And when I tell you, I like blacked out because we needed this bad. And this was Bam's legacy bet. It's like quiet as a fucking, it's quiet as can be. You could almost hear a pin drop. I started screaming, "Break that motherfucker," as loud as I could. Like, and I didn't even know what I was saying. I've never in my life pulled for another man's arm to get snapped because you're like, "Oh, he's got it. He's locked it in," and he's not tapping. So we're standing up jumping. I'm saying, "Break it, break it, break it." You see it break. We're like, "Yes," going crazy. Everyone's like looking. It was just, I don't know. It was wild. It was like primal. I was like frothing at the mouth. I'm like, "Snap his fucking arm." And then he did it. You see the guy walking out of the octagon holding his arm, like can't move it. Fucking some stupid ass parlay that had no shot of winning. We're screaming for this guy's arm to fucking snap, and it did. Brendan Allen's fight was sick, and then his post-fight press conference was sick. But then the number one reason why I was like, okay, I gotta go, like, obviously, is Poirier in his last fight, and it was probably the coolest like sporting event that I've personally been a part of. Obviously, if the Saints wouldn't have got screwed in the no call, like that would have been the energy in that game was unlike anything that I had ever experienced, but the ending, obviously, it turned what would have been like the best memory ever into like the worst and a very expensive one. But so Poirier comes out with his usual walkout song, and then it switches to Wayne, and he's got Wayne walking out with him, and it was just weird, like the energy shift, because everybody's waiting for him to walk out, and then when he does, it was like at this point I didn't even feel like it was like that crazy yet, and I just like got chills. It's like it was weird. You could feel the energy in the building. So he does the intro and all of that. Bruce Buffer's a fucking animal. That was sick. That's like a bucket list thing just to hear him talking to a microphone. But when Poirier could have got put away in the first round, and then he kind of could have got put away in the second round too, but he battled back. When he caught Max Holloway, and he didn't even catch him clean. If you look, he caught him with the right hook kind of on the back of the head, but he drops him, and then he jumps for the guillotine. The wave of energy was fucking unbelievable. And you can see the announcers talk about it, and you can see the ref's reaction. No one could hear the bell. I literally didn't hear the bell at all, and you're so locked into what's going on. Everybody's going fucking crazy. And then I looked at Bam, and I looked at other people. People were cheering like they thought the ref stopped the fight, and you literally could not hear the bell. But so then they go to the corners. When they're coming out for the third round, they had Dustin's face on the Jumbotron, and it was so fucking loud. It wasn't as loud as like the NFC Championship game, but given the only 18,000 people, like that bitch was shaking. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, imagine being like Max Holloway's a savage. Like that's as behind enemy lines as you could possibly be. And it was just it was deafeningly loud, and everybody's just going crazy. His face on the Jumbotron. I was just thinking, imagine being Max Holloway. Like, you're fighting him and literally every other person in the fucking building.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and his performance was incredible. That people booed Holloway. He's one of my favorite fighters. I said from the get-go, I'm not booing Max Holloway. And I felt like he handled the post-fight situation perfectly. He's such a fucking he's just a cool dude, but he's such a savage. But that energy is like worth the price of admission, in my opinion, where it's like you just kind of have to be there. And that's what, like, you're not going to remember fucking Carly Giudice knocking the girl out in the beginning like that. But it's like, it's just, that's why they're like, oh, why? A lot of people said, like, why would I go to the concert? I can just watch it on YouTube. Why would it's like to be there in the moment and experience it firsthand is different. And dude, it was just, I don't know. It was crazy. And I was thinking about it like what an accomplishment. Obviously, he didn't get the storybook ending. He lost, and it is what it is. But there's something to be said for the fact that he could have got finished in the first round, and that would have really fucking sucked. But you battled back, and then you catch him. You almost fucking, I agreed with him. I felt like it was closer than what the judges had. Judges had Max winning 4. I didn't have it that way, but I mean, maybe I'm a little biased. But to not get finished and battle back like that, and like there's something to be said for that. You're not going to win every fight. But what an accomplishment to have 18,000 people giving you everything they have, like putting all of their energy into you, this one person succeeding. Like, it's pretty cool. And they kept showing, pre-fight stuff where like he's watching his family. I think they probably showed it on the broadcast where he's watching his family talk about him and all of that, and he's getting emotional. And I was thinking about that going in. Like, it's a lot of emotion behind it, way more emotion than like a usual fight. So, but I mean, dude, just to have that many people to give a shit about what you're doing, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. It really was. And Theo Vaughn, that's another thing too. That just hit me. Theo Vaughn should run for governor because, dude, he was the first one. That's his thing. He's the first one there for the early prelims because we were there. The second doors open. We were there. We were in the suite. And we see him come walking out. There's 10 people in the walkway where he's walking down. Took a picture with every single one throughout the entire night. Now there's hundreds of people. He still takes a picture with every single person. But when he first walked in, he went around and shook the security guard's hands, every single one, like opposite side of the arena, everybody. And they all were like, oh, my God, asking him for pictures and all of that. And there was like one point where a group of guys, grown men too, which is a whole nother thing where it's like I watched grown men sprint from fucking 20 rows up to get a picture with him. It's like that shit's always weird to me where like he is a regular dude. Me and Bam were eating at Liz's one time right there by the lakefront. And he was sitting right next to us, and Bam, I've told you, the Bam was like, oh my God, I gotta ask him for a picture. I'm like, don't bother him. Like, he's with his family. Like, if it works out, we leave at the same time, you're out front, you want to ask him for a picture, sure. But like, while he's sitting down eating with his family, don't bother him. They're regular people. Like, and as I said, we were watching grown men like trip over the stairs to go get a picture with him, which I get it. He's the shit. He's awesome. But it's like, I don't know. That shit's kind of weird to me. But at one point, he took a picture with a big group, and there was one kid on the other side by himself, and he didn't see him, and he walked away. And I guess, like, he heard the kid, and he, like, turned around, like, 30 yards away, sprinted all the way back and took a picture with the one kid. Like, he's just a genuine guy. You can tell. It's nothing's for show, and that is who he is. And he's, like, he could run for governor. I mean, it's like fucking, what's his name? What's that idiot we got with the fucking top?
Right now?
Stupid ass. Fucking,
Jeff Landry?
Yeah. But it was a really, really cool event. It was worth going. Dana White says they're going to come back, that it was a great showing. And I figure, I was like, how could it not be? Because that bitch was packed. There was no open seats. It was definitely a sellout. And it was so fucking loud. So, I don't know. It was impressive. It was cool to see. The seats were great. Food was solid. Free drinks would have put it over the top for sure. but would have been nice for him to get the win. But it was still cool. And honestly, the name value of the card was not great, but the fights were fantastic.
Yeah.
So that was nice because going out, I was like, you take Poirier and Holloway off, this card's trash. So it's like Paulo Costa as the fucking main event. Going in, it's like he's looked like shit the last multiple times that he fought. He looked great. That was the best I've seen Costa look in years. So, but yeah, I'm glad I went. And like I said, you would have been nice to see him ride off into the sunset with the win. Somebody messaged me right before and was like on Instagram because I posted on the story that we like our seats and all of that. And they're like, I don't watch the UFC. Who do I bet on in the main event? I'm like, they're like, who's the lock? I was like, there is none. Like, and the odds represent that it's fighting. I said, but if I was betting with my head, not my heart, I would take Holloway. So it's like, it is what it is. Max Holloway's, that just shows you how goddamn good Taporia is too. Because Holloway looked fucking great. And that's another thing. The point down at the end, I'm glad I got to witness that in person. Because I don't remember who he did it with the first time, but it was like prelims. It was a long time ago. We were at Buffalo Wild Wings. I remember he was fighting some Hispanic guy that probably isn't even in the promotion anymore. And he beat this dude for fucking all 3 rounds. And then at the end pointed down and they swung for the fucking fences that I was like, oh my God. I was like, that was insane. And then that became his thing. Obviously him knocking out Gaethje with 1 second left, which I'm happy to say I needed a knockout in that. And that cashed a fucking ticket for me when that happened. That's when it became super popular, and now that's his thing. He's got to do it every time now. But we were talking about it. It was funny because Dana White reiterated the same thing I told Bam in the suite. It's like, nobody wants to do that as bad as he does. You can tell, like, his facial expression changes, and he starts, like, fucking nodding his head. Like, he loves that shit. You can tell everybody else. Like, Gaethje's a savage, too, and he was game. He was willing to do it. But I thought that was kind of funny, and I got laughed when Poirier he fucking clinched up. Like, everybody thinks, like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And then he fucking rocks your body twice, and you're like, oh, shit, I thought we were swinging at the head. Like, the method to the madness is really smart because he rips the body twice, and it's like trying to get your hands to come down and then goes to the head. He's the best at that. He's not fucking scared at all. And everybody else, even if you have 1%, he has 0% of fear. And it's like, dude, I don't know. It was crazy. He is the epitome of a savage, and it was cool to see that in person too. So, yeah, we'll dive into the NFC breakdown. Did you order the card?
No.
Or were you watching? Were you streaming?
I watched the Brendan Allen fight, but then
He looked good too.
yeah,
He really did. He beat the shit out of Vettori.
yeah,
People were pissed about his post-fight. So Marvin Vettori's brother died in a house fire recently, and then Brendan Allen's brother was in an accident. He's in a wheelchair. People were mad at Brendan Allen. I thought, did he say his brother and his mother? Did you watch the post-fight?
yeah.
I thought he just said, I'm not losing in front of my mother. But people were saying...
No, I think he said his brother.
Okay. I thought he said his mother. Either way, it was still sick. But people are like, oh, fuck Brendan Allen for talking about his brother in front of Marvin Vettori just lost his brother. It's like, he's not the only one on the planet with a brother. Like,
Yeah.
He's got a brother that's in a fucking wheelchair and can only see him apparently when he fight. Like, he can't travel.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, people are so fucking aggravating with that shit. Like, I thought it was sick what he said at the end, where he was like, I grew up 45 minutes from here. And he ended with, like, basically, I think he said, he was like, you can't fuck with me. But the way he had the whole crowd behind him, everybody was going crazy. Like, that was sick. And then he promised he's going to go win a belt. Division's trash, so he might have a shot. But he looked good. He did look improved on the feet. But Vettori's got a fucking iron chin that I was like,
Yeah.
I kept saying, I was like, Brendan Allen's he's going to get fucking caught. Like, because he's doing damage on Vettori, but he's not going anywhere. So I was worried that he was going to get clipped. But it was a very, very good performance, I got to say. All right, let's dive into it. Approaching the 25-minute mark. Hit the like and subscribe button if you don't mind. Like I said, we dove into the AFC last week. You can go click on that episode and find our best bets, best future bet going into the season. All of our power conference for college football is out there as well. This is the last one, and then basically we're going to bunker down until we may do some things here and there, but we're going to basically bunker down until the season. Got Vegas trip coming up, and then it's almost here. It is almost here. we'll start from the top. The Lions were the number one team in the NFC last year, 15-2, NFC North champ. Their win total going into 2025 is 10.5, slightly shaded to the under -130. Detroit is coming off an incredible 15-2 season that ended in disappointment after Jaden Daniels and the Commanders shocked the world. Outside of Dan Campbell's first season, the Lions have been dominant and have been trending upward each season. But there's really only one more step after going 15-2, and that's to win a Super Bowl. FanDuel has them 11-1 and the second favorite in the NFC behind Philadelphia. What are your thoughts on the Lions? Because I might have an unpopular thought.
Yeah, it just felt like last year was the Lions' chance, you know.
Yeah.
Now they still have good players on offense, a lot of skill at running back and some decent receivers, a really good tight end. But no Ben Johnson now. So I'm interested to see how the offense looks without him calling the plays.
No Aaron Glenn either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be high on Detroit. I think they're going to say, wow, 11-1. Like, they should be up there 7-1 with all the other. It's like, I don't think they should be 11-1. I think they should be.
Yeah, I agree. I think
they're overvalued. You lose. So not only do you lose both coordinators who went on to be head coaches. Ben Johnson was the offensive guru, the Cinderella story of last season, where it's like, this dude's incredible. Everybody wanted him. He had his pick of whatever team he wanted to go coach. You lose him. You lose Aaron Glenn. They kept it in-house with the new DC. It was Shepard, who was the linebackers coach, is now the defensive coordinator. But you also lose two interior offensive linemen that graded number 10 and 11 by Pro Football Focus. You lose Ragnow. You lose Kevin Zeitler. You try to replace the center position with Tate Ratledge out of Ohio State, who they drafted. But there's a lot to be said for not only the fact that you lose your coordinators. Ben Johnson probably made life very easy for Jared Goff, probably made it to where he didn't have to think very much and process what's going on. It was a lot of misdirection and just fantastic play calling. So it doesn't mean I'm not trying to take anything away from Jared Goff, but you've got a new system now that he's got to learn, and maybe it might not be as tailored to what he had success doing last year. But then you lose two very good interior offensive linemen, two of the best in the league, and now you got to try to replace them. So you've also got a ton of injuries. You've got Aiden Hutchinson coming back from the broken ankle or whatever it was, specifically on the leg, I don't know. You've got the D tackle, Aleem McNeil. He tore his ACL late I think it was in December, so he's going to be rehabbing that for a while. There's more than just that as well. Left tackle Taylor Decker had off-season shoulder surgery. He is expected to return to practice in September. So they could put him on the PUP list. I think you got to miss 4 games. So if he's out, then you're down 3 of your 5 offensive linemen. Penei Sewell's obviously an incredible offensive lineman, but you went from having probably the best offensive line to who knows. So under no circumstances at this price would I take Detroit. I just don't think that with like, this is the hiccup year, I think. This is the year where, okay, we had everything we needed. They came up short. Jaden Daniels shocked the world. But then when you're that good, you lose your coordinators. And now you're going to have that hiccup year to kind of get back on track the following year. I don't think that this is a good time to back Detroit. I really don't. So do you have anything on top of that?
Yeah, I mean, look, they were high-powered, but in the end, the defense wasn't good enough. They got outdueled by a rookie in the playoffs. So
injuries definitely did them in too. But
yeah,
yes.
But yeah, I mean, they couldn't. How many points did they give up
in that one game? A lot.
Yeah, 40-something.
It wasn't competitive.
Oh, it was 45 points.
Yeah, it wasn't competitive. They might have. What did the Lions end up scoring?
31.
Yeah, it was not that. It wasn't even that close. The Commanders were running away with it. Goff was throwing pick sixes, if I remember correctly. Like, I don't think the score was even that close. So, yeah, like I said, the Lions have been very good since Dan Campbell got there, other than that first season where they were fighting for the one win. But it's just, if Ben Johnson is as advertised, the offense, it's not addition by subtraction. So I think even if it's a minor step back, you do see a step back just from losing Ben Johnson, and that's not accounting for the issues on the offensive line. And when you pressure Jared Goff, he'll make mistakes. So it was just that offense was tailor-made. It was an incredible offense, and they love to do the trick plays. And Ben Johnson, rightfully so, went out and got himself a head coaching job. Now you got to account for that, and I don't know if they're going to be able to. So you got anything more for Detroit?
No.
All righty. Next in line, who in theory I guess we could have started with them, but I was just going by the regular season standings. Next in line is the Philadelphia Eagles, 14-3. They went last year NFC East champ and Super Bowl champion. This year, their over-under sits at 10.5 wins, -115 to the over, +140 if you like the under. The Eagles come in 2025, the defending Super Bowl champs. They largely have the same roster. 4 of 5 starters on the offensive line return. Mekhi Becton is gone, but Tyler Steen is going to take his spot at right guard. Middle linebacker Nakobe Dean is rehabbing the torn patellar tendon, but they drafted Jahad Campbell out of Alabama in the first round. Darius Slay is gone. Keely Ringo, who's been on the team for a couple years now, is expected to take his spot at corner. But then they also went out and got Adoree Jackson in free agency. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson got traded to Houston, I believe is what it was. He's gone from the secondary, but they spent a second-round pick on Andrew Makuba from Texas, which was one of the better secondaries in all of college football. And then they also have Sidney Brown as well. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was one of those solid player, makes plays around the ball, could get burnt like toast in coverage, though. So I don't think that's like a huge loss in the secondary that you really got to worry about all that much. I think he is replaceable. The Eagles will be in a great spot to make another run at it. I think rightfully so. They're at the top of the list in terms of Super Bowl favorites, tied with Buffalo. What are your thoughts on Philly going in? Do you think they're poised for a repeat, or do you think you see a little bit of regression?
It's hard to repeat, right? But I think what you saw in the Super Bowl is, obviously they won the game, but how they won it is promising because the Chiefs did a good job of taking away Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts really stepped up. And I think that was the big question going into that game. And obviously their defense is incredible. They wreaked havoc on Patrick Mahomes. So they also lose the guy, 93, I forget his name.
You were just talking about him.
Yeah, last episode, Milton Williams.
Yeah.
That's a big loss, but it's like you look at this defense, it's littered with first-round draft picks, second-round draft picks, third-round draft picks, and a lot of these guys come from the SEC, and a lot of these guys come from Georgia. So it's the best players in the world on defense. So I think it'll be interesting to see how this season goes for Saquon, if he's able to keep up that type of production from last year. But yeah, Jalen Hurts, he has a lot of two really good wide receivers to go to, and a really good tight end as well. So that helps a lot.
Milton Williams was the 3rd highest graded pass rusher of any defensive position by Pro Football Focus. Number 1 was Aiden Hutchinson. Number 2 was Myles Garrett. Number 4 was Micah Parsons, just to show the quality of the class that he's in, I guess. You go down the top 10 too. You got Chris Jones, Hendrickson, T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa, Alex Highsmith. It's a lot. So I'm going to be honest with you. Full disclosure, didn't know who that was until you mentioned it last week.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was either.
I don't know. I know Jalen Carter. I know fucking Jordan Davis. I know Brandon Graham, all the guys on that D-line. Never heard of Milton Williams.
Yeah, I didn't know him either last year. I was watching the Eagles. I was like, who the hell is 93? Because 93 wreaks havoc every fucking play.
Was he a rotation guy? He's an interior guy, right?
Yeah, so he wasn't putting up big sack numbers or anything, but he was.
We got 8
in the backfield almost every play.
Yeah, 8 from the interior position when you've got also those other guys to deal with, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and other big-name Georgia guys. Yeah, that's impressive. And he went to – where did he go? We were just fucking talking about it. Wasn't the Texans, was it? Let me see.
I can't remember.
Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots.
Interesting. Alrighty. Yeah, I agree about the Saquon. Like, he just had such a high usage, and he was the offense. If they could get some more balance, though, then that's going to make them even better. So,
And they add A.J. Dillon to back them up. I mean,
yeah, I like that. A.J. Dillon's a bruiser.
Yeah, different style back to.
Yeah. I don't hate that at all, and especially with you put him in the tush push or you like just different variations of what you can do in short yardage and all of that or goal line. He's a big body running back. All right, the NFC South champ, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 10-7 last year. Win total sits at 9.5, plus 105 to the over, minus 125 to the under. The biggest news for Tampa is that Tristan Wirfs, one of the best offensive linemen in the league, will begin the season on the PUP list with a knee injury. Offensive coordinator Liam Cohen left for Jacksonville. This is what we talked about, where they were rejoicing when in the middle of the night he said he wasn't going anywhere, and then he said, just kidding, turned right around, went to Jacksonville, and they acted like they didn't want him. He wasn't good. He turned that offense around. He kind of rejuvenated Baker Mayfield's career, in my opinion. The Buccaneers are the best of the worst, being the NFC South. Their fans will tell you that they have a legitimate chance every single year. They don't. They're not going to ever win anything. The NFC South is just bad. The defense is not good in coverage, and the offense will have to show that it wasn't Liam Cohen's system. I don't think that they will. The entire division's really bad. I don't think that. I guess do you think Baker Mayfield can have the same success this season as he did last season?
I don't know. I still think he plays a little bit reckless, so it'll be.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I really like Bucky Irvin. I think that he had a really phenomenal rookie year as a running back. And Chris Godwin, how long is he going to be out?
Yeah, I don't know. They did go get Emmanuel Egbuka out of Ohio State to kind of take his spot until he's back, I guess. But let's see. I'll look it up.
But yeah, I mean, you see him sitting as the favorites. I mean, it's because these other teams have unproven quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, you're going to make the playoffs because you win the division, and then you're going to lose to a rookie in Jaden Daniels. Like, you don't have a legitimate shot of actually doing anything. They're always okay enough that they'll give a team a game, or a game that they're expected to lose, they'll give them a run. 3 days ago, Buccaneers Chris Godwin set to miss the start of training camp. He had second ankle surgery during offseason. Once you start going down that path of ankle surgeries as a wide receiver, ask Michael Thomas what happens. Chris Godwin is one of those. If he could have stayed healthy, Chris Godwin could have been really fucking good, and he is. But just the longevity's not going to be there. So he's going to be out. At least 4 weeks if he starts the season on the PUP list.
Yeah, I think it might be longer. That injury was kind of gruesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, wouldn't count on him. It's just one of those, I don't know. I don't think the defense is largely the same as last year. And if you remember, it was like they could not cover the middle of the field.
Yeah.
They could not cover the middle of the field. You got aging linebackers. Levante David was one of the best linebackers in a long, long time. He's just getting older. He's still playing well, don't get me wrong, but they just don't have – they went out and got Hassan Reddick. If he could show up in practice and try to play, that would be great. I think he is expected to do that this year. That was the whole saga last year of him holding out and meditating in a fucking temple when his team's getting – he was with the Jets, right? They were getting fucking shit on and could have really used somebody coming off the edge. But the secondary, like Antoine Winfield Jr. had that run his rookie season when they won the Super Bowl. I don't think he's really gotten back to that form. People would say otherwise, I guess. But none of the DBs, McCollum, Tyke Smith, Jamel Dean, and Christian Isian, it's like none of them, there's no shutdown guys there, in my opinion. So I don't think the defense is going to be that great. They do have guys on the D-line. But I think we see a step back with the offense, too, with Liam Cohen. They'll tell you that it wasn't that important that he left, but they were crying over spilled milk whenever he did go. So we'll see. It's like I said, best of the worst with the NFC South. Next in line, you got the Rams. They were 10-7 last year, NFC West champ. 2025 win total is 9.5, shaded to the over -145, plus 125 to the under. They benefited from the 49ers having a funky season and the Christian McCaffrey. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? In my opinion, the Rams have exceeded expectations the last few seasons thanks to hitting on a few defensive guys like Jared Verse and Braden Fisk and then Kobe Turner as well out of Richmond and on the D-line. Their D-line has turned into a problem seamlessly after losing Aaron Donald. So offensively, you'll have the same stability with Stafford and Kyron Williams, but Cooper Kupp is gone. Devontae Adams comes in to pair with Puka Nacua. I still can't bring myself to trust this Rams team over a full season. I don't know. They've like I said, they've exceeded my expectations. I keep kind of expecting this Rams team to take a step back, and then they're always competitive no matter who they're playing. The offense is going to get going and put points up on the board. Jared Verse and these people coming off the edge, putting up big sack numbers. I just cannot get a beat on really what feels like this entire division, especially with the 49ers. That's another one we'll get to shortly. What are your thoughts on the Rams and expectations going into this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of, they're not as bad. Like, this division's not as bad as our division, the NFC South, but it's kind of similar where there's no team that's clearly ahead of another team. And I think last year you look at the Rams, a lot of their success came from the two rookies on the defensive line being able to rush the passer and create havoc that way on defense. And at times Stafford would get the offense going, but at other times, it kind of struggled to get points on the board. So no more Cooper Kupp. They replace him with Devontae Adams. I'm just like, before Stafford went to the Rams, everyone considered him one of the more underrated players, one of the more underrated quarterbacks. Now I kind of think Stafford's a little bit overrated. So
yeah, I would agree with that.
I don't know.
I think he's a good player, but yeah, I think he gets put in that like elite tier, which I just don't think he really is. So, but yeah, it's hard. Like with that division outside of the Cardinals, it's like they're all the Buccaneers, where like they're all solid and they all can beat anybody on any given day. Whereas like NFC South, it's like you got three dumpster fire teams and then an okay team. It's like they're all okay. So it's hard to like especially going into this season with the uncertainty with the 49ers and all of that and McCaffrey being healthy, it's just hard to kind of really feel confident. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have much on the Rams. I feel like I've been expecting the Rams to be worse than what they are. And 10 wins, it's like you won the division because the 49ers had a really unexpectedly bad year. But 10 wins is a solid season. Like, it's not a good year. It's an okay year. It's not a great year. So yeah, I don't know. That's really all I got. I don't have a ton on the Rams.
Yeah, I think if their defense can continue to play well, I mean, I remember at the end of last year, I was really high on the Rams, even going into the playoffs. And they won a game. They beat the shit out of the Vikings in the wild card round. And then they're really the only team to give Philadelphia a game.
Yeah.
The whole playoff. So I don't know. I kind of feel the same way about you as you, where like maybe right now I'm kind of like, there's no hype with them, but probably once the season starts and you get to see them play and how they're playing, maybe they're a team where you kind of look to bet on.
Yeah, it's one of those. I don't feel confident enough to fade them because they're good enough and they've exceeded my expectations. So it's not one of those like, yeah, bet against the Rams. I don't feel good enough to say that. like I said, I don't think Stafford's in that elite tier of quarterback like a lot of people will try to say he is. But, and that's what happens when you go out to L.A. You go out to L.A. and you're in a big media market. They're going to make you seem better than you are. But he did go win a Super Bowl, and he's a solid player. I put him in that second tier of quarterback. So he's going to give them stability, but he will make mistakes, and especially if you can pressure him. He's getting older, and he can't move as well as he used to. But they're going to have stability at the position. And like I said, the big thing for them, the thing that's kept them relevant, is that they've hit on a couple of these defensive picks. That's the main thing. You lose Aaron Donald, it's like, okay, you just lost one of the best pass rushers of all time. Like, we're going to see this team kind of melt back into obscurity where that secondary's not great. They lost Ramsey, and it's like, oh, here you go. You got all these guys that are going to go get fucking sacks and make up for a poor secondary. So, yeah, we'll see with the Rams. Like you said, I think that's a wait and see. Get your eyes on them first, and then you can make a good assessment there. Next in line, we've got the Vikings. 2024, they went 14-3, but the win total going into 2025 is 8.5. Shaded to the over, -145, +125 if you like the under. The Vikings were clearly last year's Cinderella story, exceeding all expectations. We saw Sam Darnold revitalize his career, but he faded down the stretch, which ultimately allowed Minnesota to let him walk and go with J.J. McCarthy, who they drafted out of Michigan. The offensive line was a problem, especially when Darisaw got hurt. We jumped all over that. He was the best offensive lineman that they had by a wide margin, in my opinion. He went down, and then we saw a lot of issues from Darnold. They drafted left guard Donovan Jackson out of Ohio State in the first round, and then they brought in center Ryan Kelly. And so Ryan Kelly and Will Fries both came over from the Colts. So they made some moves on the offensive line. They obviously could tell that it was a problem. Defensively, Brian Flores, I can't talk, dude. The caffeine's fucking doing a number on me. Defensively, Brian Flores was sending a ton of pressure and generating a lot of turnovers. That was their thing. They were getting a lot of sacks. They were forcing a lot of fumbles, a lot of interceptions. They were turning the ball over, and then Darnold was taking care of the ball enough. And that once he started giving the ball to the other team, things went south pretty quick, and we saw a quick turnaround for Minnesota because it looked like, okay, they got to go with Darnold. They got to go with him, and they were giving him the game ball in the locker room. Then like 2 weeks later, it was like, Darnold's getting the fuck out of town. They're moving on. So I wasn't high on J.J. McCarthy when he got drafted. I thought he got drafted too high. I don't think I got to stick to my guns. It's the same vibe with Bo Nix. I don't think J.J. McCarthy's going to be very good. But I could be wrong. I think O'Connell's an incredible play caller. I really do. And the way he can scheme up a game. And I think what he did for, like, Sam Darnold needs to give him a big thank you. I'm assuming, I don't know what his contract was, but he got paid to go to Seattle and got another chance in the league. So what are your thoughts on the Vikings and expectations going into the season?
Yeah, a lot of the same. The big question mark is McCarthy. But you kind of get to a point here where you're like, maybe whoever's throwing the ball to Jefferson just becomes good, right? Because Jefferson's always wide open.
How many games did he miss last year?
Justin Jefferson?
Yeah. Any? Am I misremembering that? Because the year before he dealt with injuries. Let me see. I should be able to pull it up. Yeah, not many. I mean, he had over 100 catches, 1,500 yards.
Yeah, he played all 17 games.
He did? Okay. The year before that, how many did he miss? Regardless, it kind of takes away. I don't know why. I thought he missed a few last year, and I know he missed multiple the year before that. So that's why I was like, okay, is health becoming an issue? But clearly not. So,
but it's like you look at Kirk Cousins, who's now benched. You look at Sam Darnold, who probably, I don't see it going well over there in Seattle.
No.
And now that you got a rookie, I'm just wondering. I mean, I think McCarthy might play a little bit better than I would normally expect him to if he weren't playing for the Vikings. At running back, Aaron Jones is getting old, so I think that's a bit of concern. They got Jordan Mason from San Francisco. Interesting to see how they split the load as the season goes on. And then you mentioned it. The defense really kind of carried this team. They weren't the best defense in terms of giving up yards, but fourth scoring defense, sixth in sacks, and second in takeaways. So they made plays when they needed them to.
They made moves, too. So they went out and got Hargrave and Jonathan Allen on the D-line. You got Okuda, who Okuda has not lived up to the expectation. He was a top 5 pick out of Ohio State at corner. Obviously has not lived up to that, but they went and got Isaiah Rodgers as well at corner from Philadelphia. So they are making moves to kind of improve the defense, and then they had to address offensive line. So it's just hard to it's hard to diagnose which one of these offensive line moves are going to come in and be a hit. It's like we were talking about with Houston. They brought in a bunch of guys, but it's none of them were top of the line guys, But who's going to come in and gel in a system? And who was our left guard? Warford, or was he the right guard? We got rid of one and we sent him to Houston. But it's he wasn't a big name guy. He got in our system and then he had success and then he went and got paid. So who are those guys that in the right system are going to do better than their grade and things like that? So it's hard to tell, but Donovan Jackson's a good player, rookie out of Ohio State. So they're at least putting and Darisal's back. Obviously, they're putting the resources where they need to go, because with Addison and Justin Jefferson, and then you got Naylor as well, they have weapons. So, and then you would expect McCarthy to make some rookie mistakes. Granted, it's his second season, but basically his rookie season. But it's Sam Darnold's still making those rookie mistakes. Mm-hmm. That was the problem when they lose games. It's because Sam. So it's not going to be Jesus Christ, where are these interceptions coming from? We didn't have to deal with this last year. It's yeah, Sam threw them too. You'll be okay. I trust O'Connell's ability to dial up offense, and it becomes a lot easier when you have a guy like Justin Jefferson to throw the ball to. So
yeah, it's just this division's really tough, because it's if you were going to pick one of these three teams made the playoffs: the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings. If you were going to pick one to not make the playoffs this year, you probably are picking the Vikings, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I kind of like the Bears. So I would lean Vikings, yeah. Just because with the quarterback situation, you get another year under the belt of Caleb Williams, and you got Johnson coming in, and the moves that they made, which we'll get to Chicago here in a little bit. Yeah, if I had to pick one, it probably would be the Vikings, yeah. Clearly, obviously, it's not going to be the Lions or the Packers, even though I just gave a whole spiel on why I think the Lions will have a down year, but a down year is going to be still probably second in the division, maybe even first, possibly. So, yeah, I would agree with that. All right, next in line, you got the Commanders. They went 12-5 in 2024. Win total coming into this season is 9.5, minus 115 to the over, minus 105 to the under. Jaden Daniels took the NFL by storm in his rookie season, but now with a full season of tape, can he avoid the sophomore slump that we saw get the best of C.J. Stroud? The Commanders went and got him another weapon in Deebo Samuel. They also made a move for left tackle Laramie Tunsil to protect his blind side. First-round pick also went to addressing the offensive line with Josh Connerly Jr. out of Oregon. Defensively, they went and got Javon Kinlaw and Von Miller on the defensive line. And then that's really all I got there. Basically, it boils down to, can Jaden Daniels do it again? Or do we see a little bit of regression in his second season? Or is he just that good?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable to expect him not to be able to do everything that he did last year, especially they were unreasonably good on fourth down.
And they were on the fortunate side of multiple bounces. You got Tyreek Stevenson with the Bears fucking waving to the crowd and then giving up the jump ball and things like that. But it's his ability to stay calm under pressure. So even whenever they would get pressure on him, he nonchalantly's running around and waiting for somebody to come open. And his deep ball, like we saw at LSU, that translated to the NFL. He was still able to throw an incredible deep ball. It's I expect a little bit of a step back, but not a huge step back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 12-5 last year. Win total's now sitting at 9.5. Yeah, I thought it was going to happen last year. I thought we were going to eventually see him,
Yeah.
Stop
Fade
converting
down the
every
stretch.
fourth down.
Yeah.
But they never did. So
Yeah, they beat the fucking Lions.
Yeah.
That's an incredible season. It really is. So they were on the doorstep of doing something insane in his rookie season. But You got to worry about McLaurin holding out for a contract. They're going to
Yeah.
pay him. You got to pay him. You have to. It's kind of non-negotiable. But the weapons on the outside, and look, Debo's getting old. The 49ers let Debo go for a reason, and Debo had been frustrated the last couple years due to not getting the ball enough or whatever. Debo cried about not getting the ball, and then when he did get it, he would fumble. So going out and getting Debo is not this like home run free agent move. 5 years ago, whatever, 3 years ago it would have been. It's not now. He can be productive. He can be a good player. Is he okay with taking a backseat to Terry McLaurin and not being the number one guy? Because he's not going to be. I think he showed tendencies of rocking the boat a little bit. But with the new team, I don't necessarily think that'll be much of an issue. But they also went and got Michael Gallup. I don't hate that move. But then they got Ja'Cory Brooks as well, undrafted.
Yeah.
Ja'Cory Brooks is one of those guys that I think has potential. As an undrafted free agent, that would be not one that I'm upset about them going to get and taking a stab at. And then Laramie Tunsil at left tackle, I think is a great move. I like that a lot. So we'll see. We'll see. If I'm interested to see Marshawn Lattimore getting a full off season with this team because he came in midway last year and kind of got picked on, to be quite honest with you, in certain spots. And if he can get back to what we were used to him being in New Orleans and even a little bit of that would go a long way for this team. Another issue, in my opinion, is the running back. I just don't think that Brian Robinson, who obviously got set behind the 8 ball getting shot before his first game, they just don't have a steady, consistent production from the position, in my opinion. So we'll see what he can do this year, but probably more of the same. But yeah, I don't hate what they're doing. You know what I mean? I would just say probably a little bit of regression from what we saw last year.
Yeah.
All right, the Packers, a team that I hitched my wagon to early in that season. That's what 2024 they went 11-6. Going into this upcoming season, 9.5 is the win total, plus 105 to the over, minus 125 to the under. I was high on the Packers last year, but Jordan Love was not good enough. All the talent but poor decision making was led to the demise down the stretch. This Packers team has a surplus of receivers to fit Matt LaFleur's offense, and they still added more in the draft. I really don't necessarily understand. Christian Watson's got the injury. I understand all of that. But you went and got Matthew Golden in the first round, and they got Savion Williams in the third round. You've got a slew of wide receivers. You've got Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks. You got the depth chart pulled up? Who else they got?
Romeo Dobbs.
Yeah, Romeo Dobbs, who was having his issues of skipping practice or whatever the fuck he was doing. But I understand Christian Watson got hurt, but it's like, how many goddamn receivers do you need? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got a good tight end in Tucker Kraft. So the weapons are there. Josh Jacobs was fantastic in his first season with the Packers. It's going to come down to Jordan Love. Can he take a step in the right direction? He's got the potential to do it. I think he's got the play caller to do it. What are your thoughts on Green Bay going into the season?
Yeah, I like LaFleur a lot, and I like Jordan Love, even though he does the dumbest stuff at the worst possible times. Josh Jacobs, still in his prime, looked good last year, and then it'll be interesting to see if Marshawn Lloyd, who didn't really contribute much as a rookie, what type of progressions he made, and we'll get to see that in the preseason. And yeah, they drafted 2 wide receivers in the first round and then another one in the third round. It just still feels like they have a whole wide receiver room of number 2s. Yeah. They don't have a true number 1. So it's kind of like, where's the go-to guy? And
yeah, I agree with that.
You probably don't expect a rookie to be the go-to guy. So
yeah, they have a revolving door of number 2s. That really is the best way to put it. But they have so fucking many of them.
Yeah.
Like when Dontavian Wicks started coming in, taking fucking targets away from Jaden Reed, I was like, God damn it. But yeah, Jaden Reed's got freaky like athleticism and all of that, but they want to use him on end arounds and all this gimmicky shit where like I just don't think he's a good enough route runner to like be your number 1 guy, your chain mover, and third down, 3rd and 10, who are we looking for? I think it's like Jordan Love doesn't fucking know. I don't think he knows. I think they wanted Christian Watson with the body type and all that to kind of be that guy, but he's just not good. He's not good as what they expected him to be.
Yeah, and he's always banged up.
Yeah.
He's always injured.
Yeah. So, was it an ACL? Didn't he tear his ACL?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think that might be what it is. But regardless, look, Matthew Golden is a good wide receiver, but if you remember us talking about Texas last year, Golden was the one, he kind of came on late in the year. It's not late, like he asserted himself as the number one option, though, but he was not the number one going into that year. It was supposed to be Bond.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like a pleasant surprise of like, okay, he's the go-to guy now, and he's kind of stepped up. But yeah, I don't know that he doesn't scream number one NFL wide receiver to me right off the bat. Maybe he can turn into that, but you used a first-round pick on the guy. But you have to insert him into a very crowded wide receiver room. So it is not like a bad thing, though. If somebody can, they're asking for somebody to assert themselves as the number one, but you have a surplus of solid quality wide receivers. That's never a bad thing.
Yeah.
So, and then when you add in a good tight end and a great running back, it's going to come down to, can Jordan Love take care of the ball better, make better decisions? That's the number one thing. If Jordan Love can take that step, then this Packers team can win the Super Bowl. I had a future on the Packers last year, and I felt good about it. And it was just Jordan Love. One, he was banged up. He was battling the ankle and battling different things here and there. But it came down to his decision-making. So we'll see if the game slows down a little bit for him. It has to at this point because he's been in the league since fucking Joe Burrow's rookie season, right? Got to be.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what the Packers can do. But, I mean, they haven't done anything that leads me to believe that they're going to take a step back, I guess. All right, the Seahawks, they went 10-7 last year. The win total this year, 7.5 wins, -135 to the over, +115 to the under. It was a very respectable 10-7 season in Mike McDonald's first season. After the bye week, Seattle closed the season on a 6-2 run. Geno Smith is gone, though. In comes Sam Darnold after, like I just talked about, a career resurrection in Minnesota. DK Metcalf is also gone, so they went out and got Cooper Kupp to pair him with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I personally think Jackson Smith and Jigba's got the potential to be one of the better wide receivers in the league, and I think he's the number one, and that's why they were okay with DK Metcalf going. First-round draft pick was used on left guard Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. They bring in Tank Lawrence, DeMarcus Lawrence from Dallas, longtime edge rusher there. I love the running back room, but was it a Cinderella season for Sam Darnold is what we're about to have to find out. You look at the win total, 7.5 wins. They don't have high expectations. It's going to be a tall task, I think, for Sam Darnold to come in and have success, basically is what it boils down to. But I like Kenneth Walker a lot, and I like Charbonnet too. I think they got a good 1-2 punch at running back. I know you obviously love Kenneth Walker as well. I do think Jackson Smith and Jigba is a very good wide receiver. So offensive line-wise, are they going to be able to protect Sam Darnold? I don't necessarily – I don't know. I don't have high hopes, basically. I just don't think Sam Darnold's that good. I think it was a good story last year. I think it was inevitable. People the ones who knew what they were looking at understood that that was not sustainable and that was not going to last. So what are your thoughts on the Seahawks?
Yeah, a lot of the same. I mean, I think the big issue here is the O-line. What did the O-line grade out at last year?
Let's see. Like as a team?
Yeah. It's like, it just seems like Kenneth Walker does it all himself a lot of times.
Yeah, pass blocking, they were 25th. And then run blocking, they were 24th.
Yeah, so
bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out for Darnold. They got Milroe. Good luck with Milroe. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this division is like San Francisco's going to take a little bit of a step back, but you never know if McCaffrey can stay healthy. What will happen to them? But
yeah.
I think this division is just kind of tough to predict right now.
Yeah, I don't want any part of it, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, not super high expectations for Seattle. The Falcons, going back to the NFC South, they went 8-9 last year. The win total this year is 7.5, shaded to the over -130, +110 to the under. No quarterback confusion for Atlanta this year. Michael Penix Jr. is going to be the starter. 4 out of 5 starters are back on the offensive line. They addressed the defense twice in the first round of the draft with Jalen Walker out of Georgia and then James Pierce, both outside linebackers, James Pierce out of Tennessee. They also went and got Xavier Watts in the 3rd round from Notre Dame. If you listen to me at all last year talking college football, I love Xavier Watts. I'm honestly surprised he went in the 3rd round. I like what Atlanta did in the draft. The weapons are there offensively. If Kyle Pitts could find consistent production ever, then they could really round this offense into form. They say every year they say the same thing. He's working with the wide receivers, not so much with the tight ends and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Michael Penix Jr. is doing post-practice press conferences saying, you saw that? We're going to get him the ball this year. I'll draft him 3rd round in fucking fantasy, and he won't do shit. Bijan, in my opinion, is a top 3 running back in the league. This is going to boil down to, is Michael Penix Jr. the guy? Is he good enough to be a quarterback in the NFL? We saw late drives in a couple spots last year and kind of some magic from Atlanta. I was on the right side of a couple different things here and there. But there was some mistakes too, which is to be expected. He didn't get a huge sample size of playing time. They went with Kirk Cousins to start. It became clear in a very quick and egregious way that Kirk Cousins is gone. He's over the hill. So they had no choice but to go to Penix. What are your thoughts on Atlanta? And do you think – I do kind of like the from a betting perspective. I don't like the Falcons. I'm a Saints fan. We're Saints fans. We're talking strictly from a betting perspective here, in an unbiased viewpoint. I kind of like the direction that Atlanta's trending, even though they consistently make a crazy draft night move.
Yeah, they certainly have some pieces around Michael Penix. I like Drake London a lot. I think Bijan Robinson is probably – I think if he was on Philadelphia, he'd be doing the same thing that Saquon does. So I would put him as one of the better running backs in the league. And then Tyler Algier is a great backup. They still have Cousins for now, so that's definitely an above-average backup quarterback.
1,000%. Yeah, as a backup, that's and it's also good – he can help Penix Jr. a lot, and I don't know if you watched the quarterback show on Netflix. Like, he called him and, like, had a really – he's a good dude. You can just tell. He's a good guy, and he called him and congratulated him that he was going to be the starter. But if in the offseason, if he can help him, that's a guy who was not expected to have a ton of success in this league out of Michigan State. He did. He formed a career for himself and is a solid option. He had a steep fall-off post-Achilles injury. But to have that guy in your corner helping you, that could go a long way for Michael Penix.
Yeah, and then you mentioned it, Kyle Pitts. I mean, that he's got a – if he can step up and even be half the player that he was at the University of Florida, then the Falcons will probably be pretty damn good offensively. Because even last year when Cousins was playing, and the Falcons would put up some they would put up some yards. It was just some –
Well, they drafted that motherfucker like top 5.
Yeah, 9th or something, I think.
Was it 9th? I thought it was top 5. Are you positive?
But he wasn't even I don't even think he was expected to go first round.
I'm pulling that up. Let's see. Yeah, no, he was drafted 4th overall. He was drafted.
So there was 4 quarterbacks in a row drafted?
No, this motherfucker was drafted 4.
Yeah, so it was Caleb Williams.
It would have been 3.
Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and Michael Penix?
Oh, no, I'm talking about Kyle Pitts.
Oh.
I'm like, wait. Yeah, I'm talking about Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I think – okay, that's why I'm thrown off. Yeah, I think Michael Penix was drafted 9th or something like that.
Yeah. They moved up to go get him.
Kyle Pitts was definitely going to be a first-round draft pick.
No, yeah, my brain was still on Kyle Pitts where it's like I tweeted out today because they say the same thing every single year. They have these high expectations, and we're going to get him the ball, and we're going to involve him in the offense. Arthur Smith's fat ass is in Pittsburgh, and he can just run the ball nonstop over there with Algier. But fucking they never gave him the ball. Well, now you come in, you still don't give him the ball. He had like 1,000 yards his rookie season. He hasn't done shit since. This guy was a fucking problem at Florida. like one of the best players on the field every time he touched the field. They won't utilize him correctly, or it's just a Kyle Pitts problem. That's what it boils down to. This is it. This is your last chance because you've gone through the gauntlet of quarterbacks and offensive coordinators and head coaches and all of that. If you're still not having production, then this is going to just boil down to being a Kyle Pitts problem. But sidebar on that is, like I told you, I watched the LSU games back from 2019. It is fucking insane the talent that was on the field that year. Kyle Pitts at Florida with Trask. But then when you look at Oklahoma with Jalen Hurts and CeeDee Lamb, you look at Alabama with their slew of fucking weapons and Tua and all of their people. But Clemson, T. Higgins, and Trevor Lawrence and ETN, the gauntlet that they fucking ran through was crazy, dude. It's like every single team that they played had incredible talent where it's like you forget. Like every big name today like was in college football that year. So but all right, we will.
Yeah, and I'll just touch on defensively for the Falcons because this is where I think they did really well in the draft and also in free agency because last year their defense wasn't very good. 22nd in total defense, 23rd in scoring defense, 16th in turnovers, 31st in sacks. So what do? They go out and they get Leonard Floyd in free agency. Then they spend 2 first-round picks on Jalen Walker out of Georgia and James Pierce out of Tennessee. So you got a veteran guy. Leonard Floyd's 32. A mentor for these 2 young first-round draft picks. I think if you're a Falcons fan, I mean, the future's looking pretty bright.
Yeah. People are still high on A.J. Terrell. They put him in that category of, like, upper echelon cornerbacks. I just can never get the national championship out of my brain where he just got fucking cooked. But I obviously I talked about Xavier Watts in the 3rd round. I like getting Billy Bowman Jr. in the 4th round out of Oklahoma. Like, I don't think that's a bad draft pick. They put a lot of draft capital in the defensive side of the ball. So, and yeah, I mean, they clearly – because they traded back up to go get Pierce, right? They took Jalen Walker first.
Yeah.
And then went right back and got another edge rusher. So, yeah, they put emphasis on trying to generate pressure on the quarterback because they were not able to do it last year, and it was a big issue. So, next in line, we got the Cardinals. They went 8-9 last year. Over-under win total for 2025 is 8.5, minus 120 the over, even money if you like the under. The Cardinals are probably one of the teams that I care the least about, to be quite honest with you. Kyler Murray, in my opinion, is overrated. He for what you get, he'll have those good games, and they'll beat some teams they're not supposed to. But for the most part, Kyler Murray's been in the league for a long time now, and just what he is what you see is what you get. The Cardinals are consistently lackluster. A full healthy season with Kyler had some expectations going in last year, and they went 8-9 with almost all of their wins being against bottom feeder teams. Defense was the focus of the draft with 6 of the 7 picks going to that side of the ball. First round pick was Walter Nolan III. They also went and got Will Johnson, the cornerback out of Michigan, who fell due to injury. They took him in the 2nd round. This team just doesn't move the needle for me. I think Gannon is the issue at head coach. I don't think he's a good coach, and I don't expect him to be the head coach for much longer. I really don't have much expectations going into this season. Do you think I'm off base there with my assessment of the Cardinals, or
no? I don't like the Cardinals because they always I always bet on them, and then right when I bet on them, everything falls apart.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, there's a lack of accountability from him being the quarterback. You know, he's always like, it's not my fault. It's yeah, it is your fault if your wide receiver's wide open in the end zone and you don't throw him the football.
Yeah, you have an incredible tight end in Trey McBride. He didn't get a touchdown until like week fucking 15.
Yeah.
Like, and he kept saying, like, we're going to get him. We're going to get him one. We're going to get him one. It's like, no, just go fucking score. Go run the offense. You had Marvin Harrison Jr. He didn't have the rookie season everybody was expecting. Like, Malik Neighbors had a way more successful season, and he's on a fucking terrible team. So at some point in time, we just got to accept the fact that Kyler Murray can do it every now and then, but he's not going to do it over the course of a full season. He's just not. And he's another one where it's like now or never. You got to show like, okay, you're the cornerstone guy that we have at the position and we're building around you. Because at this point, it's like they've already tried and it's not worked. And I understand you had Kingsbury and now you've got fucking Gannon and I don't know. I don't know what you do if you're the Cardinals. Like I said, I literally first sentence they're one of the teams that I care about the least. So that's really all I got. You got anything else?
No.
All right, we'll go to the Cowboys. 7-10 last year in 2024. This year, win totals at 7.5, minus 125 to the over, plus 105 to the under. 7-10 season for the Cowboys. In Week 9, Dak Prescott tore his hamstring off the bone. After surgery, he's now expected to be 100% for the season. Dallas has been active in the offseason, going out and getting Javonte Williams from Denver, and then George Pickens. They went and got him, obviously, from Pittsburgh. They got defensive end Dante Fowler Jr. They got Kenneth Murray at linebacker and Kyer Elam at cornerback, all expected to start in the respective positions. Linebacker DeMarvion Overshown tore his ACL late last year. He's out to start the season. No telling when exactly he's going to be back and ready to go. Trayvon Diggs is currently on the PUP list with no timetable to return. And it's been an interesting situation. They fined him, I think, $50,000. He didn't show up. He wanted to rehab on his own, and it's a very dysfunctional situation going on in Dallas right now. Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs are holding their own press conferences on the practice field. Parsons wants to get paid, I think it is. He says they're kind of at a stalemate right now. Trayvon Diggs is mad because he's getting fined, even though he's not showing up when they're telling him to. I don't know what you do. If you're Dallas, I do kind of like them getting George Pickens and pairing him with CeeDee Lamb, but that's another guy very volatile in the locker room. We'll see how it works out. They have a tough schedule. I can see 8 wins, but I do think that the number is where it should be in terms of the win total being at 7.5. What are your thoughts on the Cowboys?
Yeah, I think Dak only played in 8 games. He threw 8 interceptions. So not a good season from him, even though it was cut short. New look backfield. They don't have Rico Dowdle anymore. Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders. They also draft Jaden Blue out of Texas and Phil Maffa out of Clemson. So kind of like, if you ask me, I don't know who's the best running back in that room, and I guess we'll find out when the season starts.
Well, they were good when they had Zeke, and that was their identity. We pound the ball with Zeke. The problem is that they ran him into the fucking ground.
And then they didn't have a real running back after that.
No, they went to Pollard, and Pollard wasn't a good enough number one. And then he went to Tennessee, which Pollard's good, but he's been banged up and hurt. But yeah, there hasn't been a go-to guy. There hasn't been a bell cow, which is what that team was built on. Zach Martin on the O-line and all these other guys on the offensive line that they built to have Zeke running the football. So they've been struggling to get back to relevancy since then.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. George Pickens will be interesting to see how his personality meshes with the rest of the team.
Very boom bust. Bust.
I think the coaching change, new head coach, both new coordinators. I think you're kind of going to see Dallas have to go back to running the ball a little more. You go back to Brian Schottenheimer's teams when he was the offensive coordinator for the Jets, when the Jets were good with Mark Sanchez. They were a team that ran the ball a lot, and those teams played good defense with Rex Ryan being the head coach at that time. But it's kind of a weird situation because it seems like Jerry Jones keeps trying to replace Dak Prescott. They traded for what's the guy? Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Couple seasons ago.
I would love if Trey Lance would ever round into form.
To be the backup. And then they trade for Joe Milton now.
Yeah.
Who I think is probably more hype than merit at this point.
There was some hype, though, and Jerry was watching those videos out of training camp. They're like, God damn. They saw him in preseason throw it 80 yards. He's like, go get him.
Yeah,
Kick the tires.
The big thing for Dallas is obviously their quarterback was injured last year and their defense wasn't really good. They still went 7-10. It's the injuries on defense are a little bit concerned to start the season. But I don't know how they can be any worse on defense. They were 28th in total defense, 31st in scoring defense last year. The only thing that they were good at was rushing the passer. So,
but you got to pay Micah Parsons.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm kind of up in the air with Dallas.
Well, they do this every fucking year where they got to pay their people and they, like, don't. And they, like, wait as long as they possibly can. And it goes through, like, this messy media situation. And then they pay him. They're going to pay Parsons. It's like, just fucking, why can y'all not do it behind closed doors? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to turn in, it's already turning into a weird situation where he's on the practice field giving out interviews about how he's not happy and they're at a stalemate and they got to pay him what he's worth and this and that. And it's like, just fucking pay the guy. He's incredible. Like, he's a very good player. You got to pay your good players. What are we talking about? Pittsburgh gave T.J. Watt a bag. Guess what? You're going to have to match it now. Like, you're going to have to be in that ballpark. The precedent's been set. That's the whole game that we play in the league, where when somebody gets paid, now the next guy who's in line that wants to get paid, if he's anywhere near the same ability, he's going to want more. Mm-hmm. But you have your benchmark number now. So we'll see what they do. But, yeah, I mean, I was honestly surprised that it was, 7.5 wins. But the schedule is tough. And like I said, it's one of those, I could see 8. But I'm not like, oh, screaming, they're getting 9. Like, it is a tough schedule. So, all right, the 49ers. They went 6-11 last year. The win total coming into this season is 10.5. One of the higher win totals. -105 to the over, -115 to the under. 2024 was a very strange year for the 49ers. McCaffrey was hurt, missed most of the year. Then when he came back, he got hurt again. He should be healthy going into this season, you would expect. And then they paid Brock Purdy, like I told you they would. They were going to pay him a lot of money. It was clearly written on the wall. They did. I think it was a mistake, but we'll see. In the wide receiver room, they got rid of Debo, and Ayuk is recovering from the knee injury. The draft was largely used to address the defense with Mykel Williams, defensive end out of Georgia, I believe, and Alfred Collins, the D-tackle out of Texas. They also took Nick Martin at linebacker and Upton Stout at cornerback. Those were their first 4 picks in the draft, all defense. Is Brock Purdy good enough to do it with the weapons that he has at his disposal, and is he good enough to do it at all? I understand he did it, but can he do it again?
Yeah, I think the big thing for San Francisco, which I mentioned it earlier, it's like if McCaffrey's healthy, then Purdy's job becomes a whole lot easier. I thought I heard something where Jawan Jennings, there's something going on with his contract. Maybe he wants to be traded.
Yeah, I think, there was something like that.
So it's like another wide receiver another year for the 49ers. Last year was Ayuk.
Yep.
Who it seemed like he might be getting traded to Washington at one point. But
then they pay him, and then he tears his ACL.
Yeah. Ricky Pearsall.
Getting shot trying to buy a fucking Rolex. Checks out.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's that division we were talking about where it's like, you don't really know what to expect here. But, I mean, the 49ers are certainly the most proven team with the best coach in this division.
Definitely. But who's the wide receiver you can count on? Because Kittle's getting older. And when Debo was in his prime, they had a perfect mix of, like, Debo was just a good player and could do multiple things for you. Kittle was a top 3 tight end in the league, and McCaffrey's the best fucking player in the league.
Yeah.
That could do everything. They had a bunch of guys that could do a lot of different things. Kittle was great at blocking as well. It was like that perfect combo. Now Debo's gone. Kittle's getting older. McCaffrey's battling injuries. Should be healthy this year, I understand. And I'm just not that high on Brock Purdy. I said last year I didn't think that they should pay him, but they did. But it's like, what do you do? If you don't pay him, what do you fucking do?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. Like I said, they made a lot of moves on the defensive side of the ball. Mustafa, the free safety, is also battling injury as well. He was one of those guys who came on and was making a name for himself pretty quick. But, all right, let's go to the Bears. The Bears are one of the more intriguing teams going into this season, in my opinion. Let's see. They went 5-12 last year, but the win total this year in Ben Johnson's first year is 8.5, plus 135 if you like the over, minus 160 if you like the under. Caleb Williams' rookie season did not go as smoothly as Jaden Daniels. That's easy to say, but the season for the team as a whole was a dumpster fire. From Eberflus not knowing what the fuck is going on, and Tyreek Stevenson taunting the crowd and giving up the Hail Mary. Caleb Williams was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL by a wide margin, 68. Next guy closest in line was 52 for C.J. Stroud. He deserves, in my opinion, a decent amount of blame for holding on to the ball too long, but Chicago did make some moves to address the offensive line. They went and got Joe Thuney at left guard from the Chiefs, Drew Dalman at center from Atlanta, and Jonah Jackson at right guard from the Rams. They also got 2 new weapons for Caleb Williams. First-round pick went to tight end Colston Loveland, and then in the second round they went and got Luther Burden III, who's been battling nagging injuries, and Ben Johnson's in the media saying you got to be available, and then they signed him to his deal, and then he missed the first day of training camp. It's an interesting situation with the Bears. Shane Waldron clearly was not a good offensive coordinator, and that could have played a role as to why Caleb Williams looked disheveled back there. You would imagine there to be a lot more stability with Ben Johnson after what we just saw last season in the play calling, but they had a lot of weapons around him, and that was a perfect situation for that offense. New defensive coordinator, too, Dennis Allen, going to be the DC for the Bears. What are your thoughts on Chicago in Ben Johnson's first year?
Yeah, I certainly expect Caleb Williams to show improvement under the new head coach. It's going to be a quarterback-friendly scheme. I think it's kind of like we were talking about Mahomes, where it's like just you got to take your 3 steps and get the ball out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
You
that's the
can't
way
be a hero
that's the
every
way
fucking
you
play.
quarterback in the NFL. I think the running back, the backfield's decent here with Swift and Roschon Johnson.
I agree. I like Johnson.
Kyle Monungai from
Rutgers.
Yeah, I think there was a video of him kind of struggling and running over the pads, but I don't think that means too much.
He'll get cut.
Yeah,
They saw that. That was all they saw. They're like, all right, you'll get cut. You better fucking break a 40-yarder in the preseason game or you're out of here, pal.
yeah. You mentioned Luther Burden. Defensively, they weren't terrible. They gave up a good amount of yards, but Christ, they were on the field like the whole game, it seemed.
Yeah.
Middle of the pack in scoring defense, top 10 in turnovers, and just below average in sacks. So, yeah, it's like they always the fans always want to throw the number 1 draft pick under the bus when they don't pan out immediately, especially when a player like Jaden Daniels gets picked second and has the type of season he had, and then even the year before that with Stroud and Bryce Young.
Yep.
But I think time will tell, you know.
Yeah, no, I have high hopes. I think we're going to definitely see a step in the right direction, and just needs to slow down a little bit, and I think they got the guy for sure. 8.5 is a big jump from the 5 wins they had last year, but I don't think if you're a Bears fan, once you got Ben Johnson, that should have brought you right back in. If you were feeling down about Caleb Williams not looking as good as Jaden Daniels, as soon as you went out and got Ben Johnson. And look, Dennis Allen can coach defense. We know that. Dennis Allen's defensive scheme is a good one, and he's able to coach the defensive side of the ball. That's about it, though. But they clearly made moves. They addressed the offensive line. And I think, honestly, all the guys they got, of the people that made multiple moves on the offensive line, I think the Bears made the best ones in terms of, like, quality of player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see if it translates. It can't be much worse. They were bad. But you just want to see improvement from Caleb Williams. You want to see the game slow down a little bit for him, and you want to see him, like you spoke about, get the ball out. Stop. You can't be a hero every single fucking play. Like, obviously you're incredibly talented. That's why you got to where you are. But you need to trust that the other guys are also super, super talented as well. And you allow your talent to, when a play breaks down and you got to go do this and that, but, like, don't break the play down. Do it when it calls for it, but you can't be the one to break the play down and fucking scramble out of the pocket when you didn't need to, and then now you're trying to be Superman. So, but yeah, I think we see a step in the right direction and improvement for sure. Next on the list, we're almost done here. You've got the Panthers. The Panthers are an interesting one. They went 5-12 last year. The win total this year is 6.5, shaded to the over -145, plus 125 if you like the under. Bryce Young lost his job and then got another chance down the stretch. And after getting a breather, I thought showed improvement and showed potential. So it'll be interesting going into this season. They spent their first-round pick on Tet McMillan out of Arizona. They made a lot of moves on the defensive side of the ball. They went and got Christian Rosebloom from the Rams, Patrick Jones, Tershawn Wharton from Kansas City. They didn't make a ton of moves, and like offensive line, largely the same. Chuba Hubbard. They went and got Rico Dowdle from Dallas. But they also took Jimmy Horn Jr. from Colorado at wide receiver. The wide receiver room quietly, if Tet McMillan can be what a lot of people are thinking he's going to be, this wide receiver room pretty quickly could turn into a formidable one with Xavier Legette, who they spent, I don't remember what it was, but I would imagine top 3 rounds last year out of South Carolina. You still got Adam Thielen there. You've got some talent, and you got Hunter Renfrow down the list. What are your thoughts on the Panthers going into this season and Bryce Young specifically?
Yeah, I like Bryce Young a lot. I kind of think it was somewhat the smart move to bench him for a couple weeks there, just to give him a little reset, because you struggle your whole rookie season and you start off your sophomore season and you don't look really any better at all.
Who's the head coach? It's Canales. He was the Tampa OC before Cohen, right?
Yeah, think so.
Yeah, yeah.
I love McMillan. I wish the Saints could have gotten him, but I'm happy with the Saints draft pick as well. And then Jimmy Horn, I can't believe he fell all the way to 6th round.
No, he's a quality player.
So
they got Trevor Etienne too, running back Florida.
Yeah, and it
Sorry,
sucks
Georgia.
that
he went from Florida to Georgia.
Yeah, he did. It sucks that Jonathan Brooks got re-injured.
Yeah.
Last year, because I really think he was a player that could have would have definitely been their number 1 go-to running back here.
He tore his knee twice, right?
Yeah, he like sat out most of the season last year, and then he tore it in week 14.
Where's he at now?
I think he's just going to sit out this whole season.
Set his career out. He ain't even on the fucking depth chart.
Yeah, no, he's not playing this year, I guess.
That sucks.
I just looked it up. Yeah, but I mean, this is a division that, the Panthers could end up surprising people and end up being good because how weak the division is. So.
Yeah. No, I agree. I kind of lean that way as well. I really do. I like the moves. Like, if I was looking at somebody to win the South, it wouldn't be Tampa. It would be Atlanta or Carolina. I think I would go that way. I don't think Tampa's head and shoulders better than the rest of the pack, and I think they're improving, and then we suck. So, and speaking of us sucking, we'll go to the Saints. Last year, 5-12. This year, the win total's 5.5, shaded to the under, -160. Got to be one of the lowest, tied for the lowest win totals, I would imagine. Look, Dennis Allen wasn't a good head coach. We figured that out pretty quickly. We rode it out with him a little longer than we should. Ultimately pulled the trigger, got rid of him. It boils down to this. You don't have a quarterback on the roster that has a win under their belt, not one. So to have high expectations going in this year, I keep seeing people saying, like, oh, we're a couple pieces away. What fucking pieces are those? Because we don't know what we have at quarterback yet. Until I see a fucking quarterback on the roster get a win, then I don't have high expectations for you. When you look at this roster, top to bottom, that was another thing. We didn't even touch on that. Tyrann Mathieu retired.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a little bit. When you look at this roster, it's hard to get excited. Chris Olave's got an injury history that everyone knows about. He's dealt with concussions. Look, the Derek Carr, that was another thing. Derek Carr's gone. Thank God. Derek Carr retired. Fuck him. He loved to lob a lollipop up for Chris Olave to get his fucking head taken off. It just is what it is. We bring in Brandon Cooks, bring him back. Okay. You used your first-round pick on Kelvin Banks Jr., which I do like. I think he's going to be a quality left tackle in this league for a while. You got to see what you have in Tyler Shuck. He's in a battle right now with Spencer Rattler. If I had to imagine, Shuck is going to win the job. You don't spend that draft pick on him if you don't think he's going to be your guy. We took him a lot higher than a lot of people expected, which means Kellen Moore liked him and wanted him. So I understand. Look, Spencer Rattler, I think he does have talent. I think he showed flashes and ability, although he didn't win a game. He was throwing to literally people that are probably coaching high school football right now. So let's be honest. Alvin Kamara is getting older, still productive when he gets the ball in his hands. Kendre Miller, if he could round into any type of form that we were hoping he could be. He dealt with the injuries and all that. I think we could see a good season from Kendre Miller. This could be a bit of a little mini breakout season from Kendre Miller, perhaps, if he can stay healthy. But as far as expectations for the season, I don't have any high ones. I really don't. So I think it's 5.5 for a reason. Best case scenario is Tyler Shuck shows that he has the ability to play in this league. And he does so in such a way that it removes the need to go look at quarterback in the draft next year. But depending on what our position is, and I'm big on it, until you have a quarterback, until you know you have a quarterback, you need to take a quarterback every fucking pick, basically. Until you're positive you have the guy. And only there's a handful of teams that can say that. Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati. Like, until you know you have your guy at quarterback, you need to exhaust all options to find him. So what is your unbiased, non-fan opinion of the Saints going into 2025 and your expectations?
Yeah, I think the future's bright for the Saints, being honest here. And
okay, lay it on us. Because Kellen Moore.
I think
Nussmeier at OC, Staley at DC.
Yeah, number one, I think it ended up paying off that none of the other guys wanted to coach the Saints, because I think we got the better coach here with Kellen Moore. I don't like Kingsbury. I don't care what he did with Washington. And
where did he
I don't
go?
like Fat Mike McCarthy either.
Yeah, that's one of those, like, he's been in the league for so long, like,
I don't think his players respected him in Dallas.
No, they definitely didn't. And it's one of those, like, he might come in and give you, like, consistency, but it's, like, consistently okay. Where I agree. I think, look, Kellen Moore just won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles, and it was because of the offense. And what he was able to do with that team, I understand he has Saquon Barkley, but I said I wanted to get offensive-minded and I wanted to get younger. We got the youngest coach in the league, I believe, right? Or at least was the youngest option, and he's an offensive-minded guy. And he's a Boise State guy. So I think you got the right guy at the helm. I'm talking, though, for this particular season, though.
Yeah, I do. I think this season the Saints might surprise people.
Jesus Christ. They got you, too?
The big question's quarterback, right? If it's Rattler,
yeah,
the Saints aren't going to be any good. Tyler Shuck has to win the job week one, and he has to be decent, right?
Look, no offense to Spencer Rattler. If he wins the job, we're in the quarterback market next year.
Yeah, we're getting the first pick if he wins the job.
Garrett Nussmeier, you are a New Orleans Saint. Your daddy's going to come tell you who to pass it to.
You kind of look back to the Eagles and the Lions and the teams that dominated last year, right? You look at the O-line, the best offensive lines in the NFL, and you kind of start looking at the Saints' offensive line, and when Eric McCoy's healthy, this is one of the best offensive lines, I think, in the NFL.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because we had this talk when Eric McCoy got hurt early in the season last year. When you look at what Eric McCoy was doing, he was a top 3 offensive lineman of any position by Pro Football Focus. He was one of the best offensive linemen in the league. You go out and you spend the first-round pick on Kelvin Banks Jr., who was one of the best left tackles in college football, arguably the best, him and Will Campbell. It was 1A, 1B. But you also get to move Trevor Penning, who struggles with the footwork and the quickness off the edge, but can maul people. You get to move him to the inside at left guard. Cesar Ruiz has bounced back and forth for a couple different positions, but he's kind of formed into a stable role. But then Fuaga, I thought, was a pleasant surprise and had to step in at left tackle. Now he gets to go back to his natural position, which is what he was out of Oregon State, which was a right tackle. So you could very quickly, if Kelvin Banks is what we expect him to be with a first-round draft pick, you might have two of the best tackles in the league, which is what we saw with Armstead and Ramczyk when we were making runs.
Yeah, I think Fuaga's already one of the best tackles in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then all you got to do is turn on the tape. And then you look at the whole offensive line, it's 4 first-round draft picks and a second-round draft pick in Eric McCoy.
Yep, I was just looking at that.
Eric McCoy's probably the best offensive lineman on the offensive line.
Yeah.
He just happened to be picked in the second round. So
no, you've exhausted, and that's just in
whoever
recent history
ends
too.
up becoming the quarterback, whether it's Shuck or we have to wait another year, you have a really good young offensive line here that you're going to be playing behind up. And I still think, like Alvin Kamara, for fantasy purposes, I think stock's going up because he won't have the usage rate of Saquon, but definitely going to be a more productive season.
Yeah, when he gets the ball in his hands, he can still make shit happen.
Then when Drew Brees left. And then I love Devin Neal.
Yeah, I do too, out of Kansas.
2 out of Kansas. To get him in the 6th round, I mean,
that was a great pick.
You know, if Kendre Miller's still battling injuries, I definitely expect to see Devin Neal contribute.
Yeah.
And then the main issue here for the Saints is defense is just getting old, right? Our best players are at the tail end of their career with Cam Jordan.
Yeah.
Demario Davis. It's like, okay, Adebo is gone now, so you got to find a way to replace him. Then Tyrann Mathieu retires kind of unexpectedly.
Yeah. Yeah, they scrambled and went and got Julian Blackmon from the Colts. But that's a big issue though, him leaving.
Yeah.
Like that's I understand he was getting older and all of that, but he was still productive.
Yeah, always like, okay, maybe not as physically dominant as he used to be, maybe.
He's still around the ball though.
Yeah, he was just one of the smartest players in the league. So I mean,
yeah, he had to be.
It made up for so much of lacking the size and athleticism.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think the Saints probably offensively are going to be able to at least run the ball if the offensive line can stay healthy. And then, man, if Shuck can...
That's the whole thing. It comes down to Shuck because it's a great point with the offensive line, and we've put a lot of draft capital into the offensive line. But there's a lot to be excited about. Multiple guys have shown that, like you said, Eric McCoy, I was having discussions with people about that last season about, like, go look at how fucking good he is. Him being out is a huge problem, and it showed.
Oh, the whole team fell apart
exactly.
when he got injured.
And it's like it's just not a glamorous position, but when you realize, once you watch the sport long enough, you understand how fucking important it is. Go look at the Eagles, how goddamn good that offensive line was. Go look at the Lions, how goddamn good that offensive line was. So the big thing for me is Penning, with his size and strength, if a more natural position for him is to move into guard, and he can give you some of that production you were hoping to see after spending a first-round draft pick on him, then great. Kelvin Banks, I think, is going to be very good. I was not disappointed with that pick whatsoever. Fuaga from day one was a great pick. So you have and then Ruiz is one of those, he's going to be looked down on a little bit, but has been productive and has had to bounce around a little bit. I think he got drafted as a center, and we moved him to guard or vice versa out of Michigan. Yeah, you do have a young, talented offensive line. If Tyler Shuck can show you that he has what it takes, like, I'm so excited for this preseason, and I just want to see it because I saw it at Louisville. He's got the arm talent, but you just want to see improvement, and it will be nice to turn the page on the Sean Payton era, which we've been reluctant to do fully. Now we have no choice with the way things have shaken out, and we got the coach that a young offensive mind. You just want to see a step in the right direction. But until I see it from Shuck, I'm still like, until we have a quarterback, it doesn't fucking matter. So I'm excited. I'm hopeful, and I'm excited. As far as this season, I don't expect it to go well, to be quite honest with you. You're a little higher than I am. But I'm big on, like, I'm not throwing Tyler Shuck aside unless it's egregious. You know what I mean? I don't have high expectations. I just want to see improvement. I want to see a step in the right direction. I want to see that, okay, he can be the guy. And then depending on where our draft pick is, we make a move from there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just, that's the thing with the training camps and all of that. Everybody's, they had a clip come out today. He rolled out to his left and he threw it away out the back of the end zone. Everybody's like, what the fuck was that? It's like, bro, shut the fuck up, please. The overanalyzation of individual throws from training camp drives me crazy. They're like, oh, Aaron Rodgers threw a pick. It's like, okay, it's fucking training camp. They're overanalyzing Tyler Shuck and, oh, it was not a good day. It's like, let the people who get paid to talk about it, let New Orleans Football, let Underhill, let him tell you what he's seen. I trust his opinion. But is everybody analyzing one clip of him rolling out and throwing it out the back of the end zone? And it's because he like lollipopped it out the back. He didn't launch it out the back. Mm-hmm. So I think people thought like he was trying to feather it into the back. But there was no receiver in the area. He was getting rid of the ball, clearly. So everybody's like, oh, God. Like saying he's got Derek Carr in him. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? These are the same people saying we're a couple pieces away from competing for a Super Bowl. It's like, no, we're not until we fucking know we have a guy at quarterback. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But last team, and then we can bring it home. I literally wrote, who cares? The Giants. Their win total going into the season, also 5.5. Shaded to the under, minus 130, plus 110 if you like the over. Let's see. Obviously, we know they went and got Jackson Dart in the draft. Spent a first-round pick on him. They also went and got Abdul Carter. They drafted him early out of Penn State. First off, it's like, who's going to start at quarterback? Probably Russell Wilson. And if it is Russell Wilson, then you know what you're going to get. It just is the most head-scratching fall-off in the history of football. I still can't get over. I said I would have took Russell Wilson over Patrick Mahomes for that one particular year at that one point in their careers. I thought Russell Wilson was one of the best quarterbacks in football. This guy stinks. He really stinks bad. Yeah. Tyrone Tracy is a talented running back, but he's not a superstar running back. I got nothing. I got nothing for the Giants. I don't have high expectations. They're going to stink again. And Russell Wilson will not finish. He will not start the year from game 1 to game 17. Jameis Winston might flash in there a little bit, but at some point, Jackson Dart is probably going to get playing time. What are your thoughts on the Giants?
Yeah, a lot of the same. That's where Adebo ended up going, so sucks for him.
Paulson Adebo?
Yeah.
Yep.
The quarterbacks, I mean, they got 3 quarterbacks that all could see playing time. I think the running back room is a shit show. I think Cam Scatterboo probably is going to see some playing time here as a rookie. I'm not a big believer in Tyrone Tracy. I don't even think he's a natural running back. He's a position change guy, pretty sure. Yeah, and then Devin Singletary, I mean,
it's nothing to write home about across the board.
Getting old. I mean, how long is this guy going to play?
Yeah. Other than Malik Neighbors, it really is like, who cares?
Oh, he's only 27. Just feels like he's been.
He just runs like an old man. He runs like an old man. He was with Buffalo for a while. It's like he's.
But yeah, that's all they have is Malik Neighbors.
Defensively, though, I think that they can be a decent defense. Obviously, you got Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, but then you go and get Abdul Carter to rush the passer as well.
Have they not fired everybody yet over here?
In terms of coordinators?
Coach.
No, Dabble's still the coach.
GM.
Oh, fuck. It's been shown for a while. Mara's the owner? It seems like he always threatens to fire everybody.
Yeah, I think this is it.
I told you, like, Dabble's quietly got respect throughout the league. People respect.
It'd be a big surprise if, I mean, the Giants are going to have to make the playoffs for any of these guys to keep their job, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, then they're all going to lose their job. Yeah, they're not going to make the playoffs. I think you would have to put Jackson Dart in and go, okay, he's like Dabble's offensive mind. Like, okay, we got something here, and this is like that would buy Dabble more time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's about it. That's about it. He'd have to come in. I mean, to be quite honest with you, it always drives me crazy I guess I can see both sides. I was going to say, it drives me crazy when they go with Russell Wilson because it's like, you know what you have. But it's also, I guess you don't want to throw Jackson Dart to the Wolves. But if you're trying to save your job, it's like Jackson Dart is going to start at some point throughout the season. He has to, or you're going to lose your job because you know what you have with Russell Wilson. So it's just accepting mediocrity. And it's like, why? Why would you not kick the tires on Jackson Dart and see what you have before you leave, before you go out the door, and somebody else comes in, and if he's good, they look like a genius. So, but it's like you roll Russell Wilson out there. You know what you're getting. You know what you're getting. Same thing with Jameis. I love Jameis, but you know what you're getting with Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. The Giants are going to stink. That's what it boils down to. So, all right, what is your favorite futures bet for the 2025 season in the NFC conference?
What did you have the Cowboys at?
The Cowboys, I had them 7.5 wins, minus 125 to the over, plus 105 to the under.
Okay.
Which way are you leaning? Over?
Yes.
Okay.
But I also see 8.5 plus 120. So now I have to make a decision. Do I want plus 120 at 8.5 or 7.5?
Me personally, I would go with the 7.5. And that was one. So I had two that I was considering. So I'm gonna pull up their schedule.
Yeah, I just glanced at it. Here's one of the reasons why I like the Cowboys is because I think they could be the team. I think they could replace Washington as a playoff team here in this division. I think this division still gets two teams in. I think it's definitely going to be the Eagles that win the division, and I think they get a wild card spot too. I think that it's probably a 50-50 chance that it's going to be the Cowboys or Washington. I think we're going to definitely see a step back here from Washington's offense.
So that was, not to cut you off, that was kind of my thought process too, where it's like, yes, you have the Eagles, probably 2 losses if we're being honest. The Eagles are fucking great. You could sneak out one at home possibly and give them a game. If we expect a little bit of regression from the Commanders, it counteracts the Eagles being the best team in football that the Giants are like the worst. So you get 2 wins there. Unless you drop one that's a fucking disaster. But so yeah, if you expect a little bit of, like when you look at the division as a whole, if you expect a little regression from the Commanders, the Giants stink. Even if you get 3 wins there, because if you go game by game, you open the season with Philly on Thursday, tough. But then you go to New York, you do have to go to Chicago. But so the way I was looking at it was a loss with Philly, 0-1. Win in New York, 1-1. I'll give them a loss in Chicago, who I think maybe Ben Johnson makes a splash to start, 1-2. Green Bay, 1-3. New York Jets, Carolina back-to-back. Now you're 3-3. Commanders at home, 4-3. Denver on the road, tough game, pull it out, 5-3. Arizona, 6-3. Raiders, maybe when I was going through it, I gave Denver a loss. But Raiders, I think, is a win. Eagles, again, tough. But then you do have Kansas City and Detroit back-to-back. But Minnesota, I don't think it's going to be spectacular. I just think, yeah, I see 8 wins. I see 8.
Yeah.
So
I guess we'll go over 7.5.
I got minus 125 here.
Okay, over 7.5, minus 125. But yeah, I think it helps getting Pickens, man. CeeDee Lamb's a beast, especially when he doesn't have a backup quarterback throwing him the ball.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Ferguson's a really good tight end.
Yeah.
And I think what they did in the backfield is they got some real running backs now, even though you kind of look at it and you might not know which one's going to lead the backfield there right now. But I think we kind of see Dallas go back to, probably 7 years ago where they were successful with Zeke and Dak as a really young player.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was – so I was looking at them and I was looking at fade in Detroit. But as far as Detroit, it's like they can still get the wins. It's more.
Yeah.
I think they're overpriced for a Super Bowl bet. They can still get the wins. They're still going to be a good team, but I think we see them take a step back from what they were last year. They were the best team in football for the majority of the season. It was them and Kansas City and then Philly. So, but yeah, there you go. Sounds like that is the best bet for the NFC conference in terms of a future. Cowboys over 7.5 wins, minus 125. And that's pretty much it for episode 228. Do you have anything to say before we go?
Nope.
All right, one thing before we go. I meant to write it down in my notebook. I forgot to, and then we kind of glossed over it. Tyrann Mathieu retired from the NFL, and I think it's only right to give him a proper just thank you, I guess. Tyrann Mathieu was the greatest college football player I've ever seen with my own two eyes, personally. You can say defense, sure. I would say overall. What Tyrann Mathieu was able to do at LSU at his size and just in general was unbelievable. That year when he got the 7, it just felt like every single time this dude, every game made a play, was scoring a touchdown on the defensive side of the ball, returning punts for touchdowns. The play that sticks out in my head was when we played Oregon. I think that was to start the season on a neutral site. Went down to go cover the punt and just seamlessly punched the ball out, and in one hop it went right into his stomach, and he ran it in for a touchdown all in one motion. It was like sorcery. This dude was so good, and I just don't think he even got the credit that he deserved. And then he came into the league with Arizona and was fucking still good. It just – Tyrann Mathieu's an incredible football player. He's one of the best players to ever play. And it was really cool that he was able to finish his career in New Orleans. He's a New Orleans legend through and through. It was a sudden retiring, so it sucks. But, I mean, when you know, you know. So I wish him well. It was awesome to see. What he did with LSU was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a travesty that they gave RG3 the Heisman over him.
Especially now. Especially in hindsight.
Like a serious travesty. You'll never, just think on it. There'll never be that type of production from a defensive player and a special teams player also returning punts.
Yeah. But his ability to
win the Heisman
fumbles,
ever again. He strictly played defense and special teams.
Yeah.
And
you want to talk about too, like Travis Hunter and all of that. Watch when he's returning the punts. You could have fucking threw him. He could have played wide receiver.
And this is as a true sophomore.
Yeah.
So he ends up getting in trouble for marijuana. Can't even play his junior season. His football future looks like it's in jeopardy.
Yeah. He
has to wait until the 3rd round to get drafted when he's actually a first-round talent. And he kind of resurrects his football career and plays for how long in the NFL? How long of a career was it? 12 years?
Fuck, yeah, over a decade for sure. And
he got drafted in 2013, I think, maybe, 2000.
And this is a guy, so he gets kicked off the team his junior season. He could have let that be the nail in the coffin because he's undersized, and that was the question. How is it going to translate to the NFL? Is he going to be able to maintain the production over the course of a season and the wear and tear on his body? And he was able to because, like we touched on earlier, he's incredibly smart. He's one of the smartest players to ever play. So he was able to be one of the most productive players on the field while not putting his body in harm's way. Not that he's not capable of going in there and laying a hit, because he would, but he was able to always be around the ball because he knew what you were doing. And he's one of the smartest football players to ever play, but he could have let getting kicked off the team his junior season define his career. And he didn't. He came back and made an incredible career for himself. Did he won a Super Bowl with Kansas City? Or was he only on the team when they came up short against Tampa?
Yeah, I think he was only on the team when they lost to Tom Brady.
Well, that's unfortunate. Fuck Tom Brady. But yeah, a true legend of the game, in my opinion, the greatest college football player I ever saw. So congrats on an incredible season. Wish him well. And it's awesome that he was able to finish his season out, or finish his career out for a couple years in New Orleans. So yeah, I felt like we touch on that before we go. But yeah, episode 228 in the books. hit the like and subscribe button if you don't mind. This is our NFC breakdown. Like I said, we've done NFC, AFC. We did all the power conferences in college football. We got our trip coming up. So it's going to be, I'm sure we'll do some recap stuff throughout the preseason. But a couple things here and there, and then we're going to gear up for week 0 of college football, and we're going to do it all again. So, like I said, hit that like and subscribe button. It helps us out big time. We appreciate it. If you're still listening nearly 2 hours in, we appreciate you as well. So, y'all have a good one. Who dat?
The house always wins. Play long enough, you never change the stakes. The house takes you. Unless, when that perfect hand comes along, you bet big, and then you take the house. Been practicing this pitch a little bit. Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed.
That was good. I liked it.